Hello and welcome to Camera Centre UK's podcast. Here we get to see some creatives as well as talk to some of the brands about the new technology. Today we've got Geraint Radford and he's going to be talking about OM systems and micro photography. So first of all, explain a bit about yourself and what you do.
You literally just did the perfect explanation of who I am and what I do. So thanks, man.
I thought that was actually quite smooth, to be honest.
Yeah, that was super smooth.
I'm actually getting to the point where I can talk properly and it's great.
So I'm Geraint. So I got a couple of years on you guys. So when I was growing up in the 90s, up in the Rhondda Valleys, you didn't have that much to do. You had 4 channels. Once Hey Arnold was finished, I was like done with telly, going outside. And I basically found that I got a real interest in nature, and specifically into really small things in nature, like bugs and stuff. I couldn't get enough of them when I was a kid. Not eating them. I couldn't get enough of them.
Some tasty little crunchy snacks.
So slugs go down easier. So I figured, I love nature, I loved exploring, and I didn't actually get into photography till my early 20s. My parents bought me this little, I think it was like a Panasonic something or other. It's like 50 quid now. But it had like this little flower icon on there. You tap that and then they made it into like a macro camera. And I got addicted to it since then.
Really?
Yeah, that was the thing. And I just played with that little thing for years and years. And then I became a dog groomer. I was learning how to do one of those. Be a dog groomer, It was like one of the coolest things ever. I loved it.
Oh, 100%. Dogs are amazing.
They're awesome. You just chill all day with animals.
Yeah.
But they got bit way too many times and they'd like to admit. So I watched a lot of dogs, saved up, and then I bought my first ever camera. And then just fell in love with it. And it's just been like the wildest ride ever since then. I never imagined that we'd be doing this. I'd be like a photographer in this sense.
Yeah.
That was never really the plan. It just kind of grew. It was awesome.
Yeah. Grew like a...
grew like a little mushroom, It started...
Yeah, you could say that you're the fun guy of the macro photography world. I'm surprised no one said this before.
No, everyone said that before.
Okay. So, not necessarily original, but I thought it was hilarious.
It was like, nobody said it in this kind of context. So that's awesome. Yeah, well, it is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun. It's the kind of photography that gives you Peter Pan syndrome, I call it.
Oh, yeah.
It connects you to that little explorer inside that we've got, and it encourages you to basically experiment and play, have fun again. And it's I think macro is the most sort of accessible form of photography there is. Once you actually buy the macro lens, you're in control of your photography then. You haven't got to wait for elements like landscapes, you have to wait for conditions.
Yeah. 100%.
If you're a portrait or events photographer, you have to rely on certain other things. But with macro, you can photograph anything and it looks cool.
Yeah, effectively. Yeah. There was a scientist, I think it's something... Feynman, George Feynman or something. Artist asked him, you can't see beauty like I see beauty, and there's going to be a link here, don't worry. Yeah. But the idea is, I've been around a lot of landscape photographers, and landscape photography tends to be the go-to for a lot of people, and rightfully so. It is beautiful seeing the world in ironically, the best word for it is actually the macro sense, because macro is supposed to be this word for large. Do you know that?
No.
It's the word for large. It's not actually...
we need to...
So macro is actually... So when you use macros for computer science, you use macros in terms of the large sense to manage a large whole. The reason why macro lenses are actually called macro lenses is because they make the small things bigger.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's my guess. Anyway, it's probably not working. Is it actually?
Yeah.
See? I'm a...
Scale overall, and that's social events.
But it really should be called a micro lens, but it's not because people,
I often get asked, why don't we call it micro photography? And now I know why they're asking me that question. And, yep, you're right.
Yeah, there you go. You've got something to say every time people ask you that now.
I gotta change
I'm a Geraint Radford micro photographer.
Who's that over?
But going back to the scientist, what he said to the artist is because he's a scientist, he sees beauty in another sense that the artist couldn't necessarily understand, because he see beauty within the way atoms come together, you know, the science in between everything. And I very much think that macro photography, from the way you're explaining it, is very much like that. So, you know, you got a load of people that do shoot more, you know, massive landscapes, bigger models and stuff like that. But the way you see the world, and through looking some of your photographs, and like the reason why I think so many people went to your stand at Wales and West is because you see beauty in a way that people don't necessarily see beauty.
That's very kind. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had that.
That was almost emotional. I was getting emotional.
My honesty, my spirit's lifted. Thanks, man.
But no, I do think there is something about that with what you were saying. Yeah, I think it's actually a really interesting way to kind of put macro photography.
It's yeah, I count myself mostly as like a nature photographer, right, guys? I photograph nature, but it just so happens that I use a macro lens.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same rules. So like I'm not necessarily like focused on like plants, flowers, or bugs. I kind of shoot everything under like.
Then if Mother Nature made it, I'm going to try to photograph it with a macro lens.
Yeah, no, definitely 100%. And that is a good segue to what is the lenses that you use.
Oh, I got in my back.
That was a smooth segue, wasn't it?
You've done this before, haven't you?
I feel I've done this. You're going to be the fourth poddy person on the podcast.
That's pretty good.
We still have yet to name it, so if you've got any ideas for names in the comment section, then put them down below.
Yeah, I'll chuck some in the comments when I. Yeah, I have to dwell on it.
Yeah,
we had a couple of good ideas.
we had a couple good ideas. One being, what was it? Guardian? No,
Gladiators Banquet.
Gladiators Banquet. I don't know. I really want it to work, but I don't know if it would.
I don't think so.
No,
but you can shoehorn it.
I can definitely put it down the maybe aisle because that just sounds epic. Anyway, before we get distracted, your lenses, yeah. Yes. Yes, this is a photography podcast.
Yeah. Since the 90mm from lens systems came out, that's pretty much been on my camera the entire time. I've got to go there yet.
No,
it's wild, man. It's got the field of view of 180mm macro lens.
Yeah.
So if you imagine if they're insects, like they don't want you getting close to them, so you can be really far away.
Yeah.
But it can photograph at something like 4:1 life size as well. So it's got the advantage of being further away and magnifying more. And then if you chuck it on, gently place it on something like an OM1, you've got 8 stops of stability built in there then. It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, traditionally when I started a long time ago as a macro
photographer.
Long time. Not actually that long.
A long time ago in a place far, far away.
I was this tall 6 years
old. I was this tall.
No, traditionally, macro photography was in all the books I'd read. It was about get your camera on a tripod, shoot with a remote, and all that stuff. And it's like it's a completely different ballgame now. A lot of macro photographers are shooting handheld in the field using, you know, a lot of us use flash. But I'm shooting like focus stacks without a flash and a natural light at like ×2, ×4 magnifications nowadays. And that's unheard of. Like, you go back a couple of years, 10 years or whatever, it was like, that's wild to imagine, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, photography is continually getting more and more advanced. I mean, my camera choice is the Sony A7S and the FX6, purely because of the low light potential of that camera. And for me, because I'm a bit more of a run and gun shooter, it's really useful in that retrospect. But I think what's interesting and why I wanted to get you on board here, you know, to the podcast and stuff, is because, you know, Micro Four Thirds isn't necessarily something I would have ever really picked, but the quality of photos that you get out of it is like really good. And to be honest with you, it's one of those. Olympus do some really good cameras. I just have never gone over that because they've never been very video centered. They've kind of introduced video as videos got more important, but you know they've always been kind of like a photography, and then Panasonic has been the
I think that's right. I think that's fair to say. Olympus and OM systems as we are now, they're pretty much more geared towards image making.
Yeah.
But having said that, I found myself dabbling in macro video and stuff. Because there may be some sort of like, you know, visual limitations that are, you know, within the camera, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of advantages. so I can shoot handheld macro video where I know that
It's going to be
that's
stable.
not easy, is it? And also because of the actual sensor size, it means I can get like twice as close versus my traditional setup. Because I came from a full frame setup,
Yeah.
and I had the same reservations really.
Yeah.
I'd spent, I think, 20 or 30 grand or something on all my photo gear back in the day. You know, don't know
Yeah,
what's
well, no, it's one of those things. What like thing I would say to that end is like, you know, you really got to consider what's right for you whenever you're looking to buy a camera. And at the end of the day, you know, these smaller systems do offer some really good photography. And like, I think for a long time, you know, I used to do weddings quite a bit, and full frame was like everything to me. But through working with Camera Center and, you know, doing some of the events and stuff like that, you start to realize that these cameras have, you know, where they may not be within your parameters of like, okay, full frame's the best, but like realistically it's what suits what, because what you do, the Micro Four Thirds system works really well.
It's exactly it. And the other system I was using, I was fighting against it constantly, and it was actually ruining my joy. I hated using it.
Yeah.
And my friend was using Olympus at the time, and his images were looking great.
Yeah.
The lenses are super sharp. So I just figured, well, I'll give it a try. So I asked him for like a Pro one, and that arrived, and my gear was on eBay within about 2 days. You just felt better. It
It's
felt
one of
right.
those things. And I think it's what was great about Wales and West for a lot of people is because they actually got to try out the gear and, you know, see if switching was the right thing for them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that as well. Because I think a lot of people bought OM system stuff. I keep thinking OM systems. I'm sorry, OM systems. A lot of people bought OM systems that day purely because of kind of the shots that you were getting out of it.
A lot of folks will buy it as a separate system.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they're interested in macro photography, the benefits for that system it's so great for macro work that a lot of people just end up buying the camera for that specific reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they want to do macro, and when you consider the price of something like a 200 f4 macro lens, and they don't actually focus that
Close.
It's 1-to-1, so 35 mil. So you can get something like, say, a 60 mil, which is 120 and like that big, put it on an OM1. And then you go 2-to-1, stability, in-camera focus stack, and all these things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I know just bought it completely separately.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I haven't actually told you this, but I have actually tried out an Olympus. It was an OMD, so it was back when OM Systems was Olympus. And it was the EM1 Mark II.
That was my first one.
Was that your first one?
Yeah, it came from
really,
T5.
really good. I really enjoyed it. It was my first kind of foray into kind of like using a Micro Four Thirds camera at the time. And I will say I really actually quite liked the stabilization on it. It was actually surprisingly good for what it was. And I think at the time I was on an A7 III or an A7S2. So comparing them, you know, it was interesting that you could get very smooth footage and really good photos by just, you know, what was in there. And I think Olympus do have that really good stabilization for their photography as well, because you were talking about being able to shoot handheld with it, and I think that's a massive bonus.
It's unreal. And I started using like the focus bracketing feature on my camera a lot more. So it's like stacking, it doesn't blend them together.
Yeah.
I was shooting 150 frames.
You know, hand holding it, letting the bracket go, and then blending them later. And
150 frames.
Yeah, and there's people who shoot more than that. Like, you know, there's
I wouldn't have thought you would have actually been able to do
you keep
150
it steady
frames.
and just let it run. But that's the massive advantage. So it's got the bracketing feature, but you can just hold it still.
Does it blend those photos automatically, or is that something you have to do in post?
You do that in post, but if you use like the in-camera stacking instead of bracketing, then you can shoot between 3 and 15 frames, and then it'll blend them.
Oh, nice.
So if you're not like super close up, 15 frames is plenty.
Yeah.
But now the Nike's out, and it focuses like twice as close as the not as close actually. I'll say it focuses it magnifies twice as much as the 60.
Okay.
So that means I have less depth of field, so I have to shoot more frames.
What camera do you actually shoot then? Because we haven't actually talked about that yet.
I haven't talked about the cameras yet. No. I'm using the OM1.
Oh,
and I've got the EM1 Mark III as well. That's like my secondary camera.
Okay.
But I love the OM1.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's the one for me.
So what are the specs of that then?
I think the biggest advantage that I found from the OM1C coming from the Mark III is the speed of everything.
Yeah.
So it's the computational stuff. It's just so fast now. And you know, if you imagine you're Geraint, right?
Yeah.
You walk around, you find a butterfly, you think, holy smokes, that thing's pretty. I'm going to shoot a focus stack of that. Okay, I'm going to go half click, I'm going to shoot 15 frames, and then I'm going to blend them. But that blending process, say you used to take like 10 seconds or something, that way it takes like 5 at tops.
Oh, nice.
So even that little thing is insane. But that's like the tip of the iceberg with it.
Yeah.
It's the increase in stability, I've noticed that is unreal. So that's how I'm able to push the stacks. The actual focus stacks, I get more keepers shooting from there. But it's just some wild things in there. I don't
have to give it a go.
The features that are in there because it's not, you know, I'm a macro person, so I tend to like build my camera around the stuff that I use.
Yeah.
But it's got some like star detect autofocus in there. So you can be shooting in the dark, you half click and it'll just find the stars for you. So if you're in task for you'll do like stuff like that. It's got live view, so you know you can shoot like a night scene. You can see the picture building.
I think it's been there. I've been on there for a while because I remember that and it was really cool. I think it was one of the first to actually introduce that.
Yeah, you know, handheld high res mode works like a dream now.
Yeah.
So like I can shoot like a 50 megapixel file out of my Micro Four Thirds. Like as long as nothing's moving, you're okay. But if you bang on a tripod, you can get 90.
Yeah.
So it's just wild, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
So there's a lot of like growth room inside of the system itself. So lots to it.
Yeah. I need to try it out. I'll see if I can speak to Olympus about getting some on the channel.
Yeah, this. Perhaps we'll have to do something where we'll go out both together and shoot some macro with one.
Oh,
it's like with a lot of these things, it's like talking about is one thing, but you know, the reason why I think the cameras do well at trade shows and stuff is because you pick one up and you just feel it there. Yeah. And I think when you shoot with one, that's where you kind of really get to know the benefits of it.
Yeah, 100%. One of the Olympus systems, OM systems, I don't think they've actually done one yet, is the Pen F. Are they going to be doing a Pen F?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not privy to any of it.
I know I'm a Blackouts fan.
They already see it coming. It's just like we're not going to give him any insider information.
So is Mount.
You're like Tom Holland with.
So it comes.
That's just how he comes.
Too excited.
No, yeah. to be fair, I'm excited about camera gear as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If there's like anything new that comes out, I try to find the way that it could improve my shooting experience and the images that I get. Yeah. So when the 90mm came out, for a long while, I challenged myself to mostly shoot under natural lighting conditions with it. Yeah. It's easier with things like bugs, with things like mushrooms than bugs. Yeah. It's easier with those because they don't go anywhere. Yeah. But like when the lens was like first kind of like announced and it was going to be coming out, I got it like 2 weeks before the release date, right? And like I was like, okay, I gotta get some like new images for myself, like for this thing. It's just like, but I made this real bad error, and that like I forgot that I was like pushing 40, right? And I like started to carry away the gym, right? And it was like 2 weeks before I had to get some images up. Yeah. And I like hurt my back, so I was like crawling around my garden like a slug, just really trying to like shoot these images. But
I could just imagine a conversation between you and a slug. It's like, I know how you feel now, buddy.
I was like jealous of you. Like. But you know what? Because I feel like a lot of my work has been like based around the stuff I'm finding in my garden lately. Yeah. So I've got to know that space really well. I knew kind of where the lighting was going to be and know where the subjects are likely to be. Yeah. And having that field craft, that knowledge there, really saved me, man. Yeah. Because I could only shoot for like 5 minutes at a time. Okay. And I got some of my wilder shots doing that. Because like, you know, you're like under a little bit of pressure. Yeah. I think that you kind of do better. That's what you. Yeah,
I'm one of those people that actually feel like I actually work better under pressure. To be honest.
Yeah, likewise. You kind of need the fire there to go.
You'd be like, yes, I need to do this.
Yeah, it forces. And then you have like this, and then you start crying. And then you pull through it in the end.
Oh, my university days, they were good.
The best, isn't it?
Yeah, leaving work to the last minute, handing it in the last second.
Still, I know.
Yeah,
You need it though. But it's like I think that's where you grow.
yeah, 100%.
And that's why I'm grateful to be a freelancer in
Yeah.
some respect, because I think without that fire, I don't think I would develop the creative and artistic
Yeah,
side that I've been
100%.
trying to work on.
Yeah.
So I'm glad about that. But you know, that lens came out, and I found this minuscule like mushrooms like this big,
Yeah.
and it was growing on a leaf. And because I was working in natural light, I figured, well, I'm just going to go in this like the good light. And the sun had just been setting,
Yeah.
and it just illuminated this mushroom, and it looked as though it was on fire. And I was like, if my back didn't go, I wouldn't have this job.
If I didn't break my body.
Yeah, and I'm still feeling it now. But it was just one of those things where, you know, I had to look for those opportunities, and that lens changed the way I shoot now.
Yeah.
It really feels like that.
100%.
I'm said that I am back into
What lens was that again, sorry?
the 90,
The 90.
the 90 mil.
You love that 90.
You go to some bedroom and everything. It's got a little sign.
It's got a little crib.
I go night, little 90.
Speak to it. It's like, shh, look at that.
Yeah, when you know what you read. What?
I want to talk to you about this really cool shot that I'm about to get.
This really cool like mushroom right on it. We're gonna work really hard together.
I'm super excited.
I know. I felt really bad though because I put his favorite show on. I left his lens cap on. I didn't see anything of it. Oh, but yeah, we'll give it a go.
Yeah, 100%.
And Nike, it's insane.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be away next month anyway, so we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, come down. Let me know in advance, and we'll go to the places where there's always coffee and cake.
And we'll make sure, because of course you were a musician before.
Yes.
So like, and it was like heavy metal kind of stuff.
Love
you
it,
said,
man, yeah.
love it. Yeah. So like, it's quite interesting to see the sort of like difference between the stuff that I've seen on the online, which is this like wishy-washy kind of like nice music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then of course you do metal. I think there's cause for a heavy metal.
I think you're right.
Macro.
I hate it too long, man. I hate it. Well, the thing is, like, bugs look like metal, and I think that's probably why I like them.
They do
That's
look
good enough for me.
They do look very metal, to be fair.
They do.
Yeah.
So did you see the video I recorded and chucked out yesterday? I think come with a disclaimer because like a lot of like families follow my account for that reason. I'm kind of like positive.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, right, this is cool. I gotta share it. But it was I found this beetle, right?
Oh, it was
Did you see
the bug.
wasp?
Yeah. The eating
This
it.
head off like in front of my eyes. I was like,
This is metal.
that's metal. I like, one of my favorite bands at the moment is like Motionless in White, and they got a song called Undead Ed.
Yeah.
And it's about like a headless horseman. And I was like, if that's a music video right there. So I put the tune on there.
Yeah.
Little disclaimer for the wee nippers who might get
Yeah.
eternally traumatized by seeing that. One of the favorite.
Oh, nature's violent, man.
It is.
Especially with bugs and stuff. Like,
I said, man, like, you know, if reincarnation is real, like, the last thing you want to come back as is a bug. Like, first choice is a toy pool.
what was quite funny though is he looked at me. He was just like, "I've seen some stuff, man." Like,
I just
I wake up.
I have to walk up to the woods at night and just center myself.
No, you don't.
I see some gnarly stuff, and the thing is, and I'm kind of guilty in some respect of painting the false narrative of the natural world to some degree.
Yeah.
I'm consistently showing the pretty stuff.
Yeah.
And if it was something gross, I was like hesitant to like shoot and share it. But it's a disservice to the natural world, really. It's like these bugs, as cute as I think they are. There's a side to them.
There's a side to them. There's a side to them.
They're merciless.
That's just metal.
That's what
It's just
that's
metal.
baby.
It's metal, baby. So you're a big advocate of photo stacking. Do you want to do a little bit on that?
Yes. So when you're working super close up to your subjects, you have quite a limited depth of field. Because like the closer you get, the less depth of field we have in it.
Yeah.
So when you shoot with a macro lens, f11 looks like f1. There's like nothing there. So to overcome that, we can use a technique of focus stacking.
Yeah.
And that's where we shoot multiple images at different focusing distances. And then we can blend all the sharp bits together and then just throw the blurry bits in the bin. So you get more depth of field of your subjects that way.
Okay.
But you can use it for other reasons as well.
Yeah, what other reason?
So I chatted about it in the talk at Wales and West the other day.
Yeah.
So you can use it kind of creatively. So you imagine if you've got, I use mushrooms as an example because they can go nowhere and we're fast approaching fungi seed. So yeah, and I'm dreading the summer going, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, my bugs are going to go down.
That's so sad. But then you get to be the fun guy.
I get to be the fun guy.
We're gonna do a counter every time I make that joke.
Every time you do that, the folks that don't eat a biscuit.
Yeah, I gotta eat a biscuit. Yeah, we're not gonna be a drinking channel. We're gonna be an eating biscuit channel.
Yeah, bring your own Bourbons. Like.
Yeah. To be fair, this is usually released on Sundays, so you'll be bring your own Bourbons.
There we go.
That's it.
Bring your own Bourbons.
That's
what we should call the podcast.
That's what we should call the podcast. And bring your own Bourbons.
Yes. Can I get like 2% of all the feats?
The crumbs. Like.
The crumbs. Oh, damn it.
Okay, focus that.
Maybe.
Oh yeah. God,
Maybe cool the
focus on
crumbs.
focus stacking.
Yes.
So imagine you've eaten a biscuit, right?
Yeah. Imagine you're photographing a Bourbon.
Yeah, okay, and you've got like, you're on the B, right?
Yeah.
You know they got the Bourbon printed.
Yeah.
So imagine you focus on the B, right?
Yeah.
And they get all the way over to the end at the end.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really do that in one shot through the macro lens. But you can photograph the B, the O, the U, the R, and the N, all the way right the way through, and blend all those together. And then you end up with one really sharp picture of a biscuit.
That's great.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah, it's good.
It's better than a mushroom. But
Yeah.
also, like, you can use focus stacking creatively.
Yeah.
So if you shoot the picture at like f11,
Yeah.
because you want to get like all these subjective focus.
Yeah.
Problem with that is that it pulls your backgrounds in as well.
Yeah.
And I like a shallow depth of field, but I also like my subject sharp.
Yeah.
So in my camera, I can set the distance. They call it the focus differential, right?
Ooh.
And that's the space between each frame.
That just sounds really smart.
It's smart, innit? I had to practice that word like 1,000 times. Well,
Couldn't say it.
You're just in your house talking to your 90mm and you're going to be like, sorry about that, guys. It seems that the power blew again. It's second time today.
I think it's the ghosts.
I think it's the ghost. They follow you.
it's the ghost.
This is why we probably needed to put a USB of all your photos up here.
What do you call it?
I called you a USB. And you're not even a good one like a USB-C. You're a
No,
old USB. You're a USB.
So
I
sorry.
am. It's,
Don't edit it. Put it out raw.
no, I think we could put all this stuff out raw because it's
Put it out.
brilliant.
Like, I mean, you win some Medusa.
You win some.
It's like, yeah, right. You remember you used to be such a successful photographer,
Yeah,
and then you did your first podcast.
yeah. Or we could like call it tangent. That's another one because we just go and tangent.
Call it out of focus.
I still
Out of focus. Yeah, the Out of Focus podcast.
I still think
Oh, that's actually good. Just continual bangers here, man. Like,
Oh, that's why I get.
Bring your own Bourbons is the best.
yeah.
All
We should
biscuits
see if we
you
can get.
wanted to like. BYOB.
We should see if we can get printed our own Bourbons, like a camera center Bourbon.
Do you know what a photographer's favorite cheese is? Bourbons, all it. Wait, I said it wrong.
Okay,
Wait, I
go.
got a Welsh photography joke if you want one. I
Yeah.
can try to call this.
Here we
Pull
go.
it back a bit.
Okay, here we go.
It has to be specifically as Welsh though. Shall I not say it? Because we're rolling. Wasting you guys' time.
No, 100% no. It's fine.
You might have already heard it.
Yeah,
Okay, what's the difference between a camera
yeah.
and a sock?
I don't know.
One takes 4 toes, one takes 5 toes.
Wait.
No, that's the best.
That was-
in Wales.
That was
Yeah.
good.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
Back on track, sorry.
Macro photography.
Oh yeah, macro.
Oh, we're talking about macro photography.
That's why I arrived.
Yeah.
Gary, what's your favourite photo?
Oh golly,
We're going to have to kind of see it as well, though, aren't we?
yeah.
But we can put that.
Yeah.
That's tricky, actually. That changes all the time. My
Does
favorite one, yeah. I think right now, what's the most recent one I've taken that I kind of really like? Wait,
Do you want to get your phone out so we can see?
can I?
Yes.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not cheating.
No cheating.
Where's my phone?
I follow you now,
Well, I will follow you back if I don't already. Thank you. Is your account private? Because I don't follow back private accounts. Out of respect.
It's my photography.
Fantastic.
That was the most honest thing I've ever heard. I don't follow private accounts out of respect. I thought it's just because people would know it's out of respect.
Oh, Mama raised me right.
So photos.
Oh yeah, I don't like any of my pictures. Oh man, I saw some.
That's my mum's graduation.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, she's a doctor.
Whoa, that takes some doing.
It does.
Play. That's the heck of a commitment.
Yeah, she went back at 35.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never too late. Like
No, never too late. Photos.
that's my favorite.
That's your favourite. Yeah. What the photo of you? It's a really good photo of you.
I did it myself, and it took 1,000 goals.
Oh, fair enough. Was it like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids situation where you decided to take a self-portrait as a?
Do you know what? If I actually speak non-sentimentally, I think that one probably is my favourite one.
That one.
That's an ant.
That one.
That one.
That's my first ever macro shot that I
Really?
could find. Looking back, that's probably my
Your
favorite
first ever one.
Yeah,
Yeah?
because that started this whole journey, and it's the thing that got me really interested in it. And you know, photography has been like a friend really over the 13 years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, if it want, like, I love macro photography. It's been like a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the fact that I got that image and it worked out, I don't think I'd be like committed and shooting today.
Well, that is a really lovely answer. No worry. No, that's fair enough. I think, like, I want to do this piece at some point. I need to work out the semantics for it on nostalgia.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, nostalgia is an incredibly powerful tool. And when you're talking about, you know, your best photo there being something that you took on a camera a long time ago, but the really why it's your favorite is because, you know,
It's what they mean, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the power of photography, though, isn't it?
yeah,
They're memories, essentially.
yeah,
And every single photo that I take, like when I look back on it, I can remember where I was,
Yeah.
where the conditions,
Yeah.
and like that picture was 13 years ago, maybe more. I know that's not that long, but
Yeah.
you know, a busy life.
Yeah, I got a busy life, a lot of
But I
stuff
can
has
remember
happened.
everything. I can
Yeah.
remember where I was stood,
Yeah,
the time of day. I can remember everything, and that's true for. Does that move you?
yeah, it does. I'm more of a videographer, so that's kind of where things are for me. Like, video has been a part of my life for such a long time, but it goes. I say video has been a part of my life so long. I've only been doing videos for about 10 years, but it has been throughout my life. So when I'm talking about nostalgia, my childhood, my mum pretty much filmed the entirety of it. And unfortunately, when I was young, I actually had a sister who passed away of cancer. But I think where my roots come back to, when it comes to why I'm so infatuated by video and everything like that, is, you know, there are these moments that in time which are only ever captured at those particular times.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to get sympathy. You know, it's just whatever. It's just one of those things that I think, you know, when you're talking about, you know, having a nostalgia to your image and what you do, I can really relate to that. And my favorite photo of all time, I've actually got it printed out somewhere. I don't know where it's gone. I was going to hang it up on the wall, and then Terry looked at it and was just like,
It's too good.
yeah, it's too good. Take it down. So this was at a protest. I'm not going to say what protest it was because this isn't a political thing.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it is there was just a person with a sign and it said, "Above all things, I believe in love." And it's cheesy. It's dirt cheesy. I know it's cheesy.
It's not,
But
though. It's the truth, man.
it's just how the light fell on them from the lamps. You got this slight little lens flare there. The umbrella here, and then you know that.
Looking down in the back.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all of that.
Isn't it? But look at that, though. That's
Yeah, I mean, you got torture there, and stuff like that. You know, it's
But I like this kind of person here with they kind of got the head in the clouds. Like, no,
quite literally, actually. Yeah.
There's a lot of like symbolism in that.
And it's conducing meaning out of a load of different factors. And I took that on an A7S2. It was at a protest for a leader that just come into power. Whatever side of it, the line you fall, it doesn't really matter to me. But it's one of those photos I think has some true meaning to me. But like you said with what you picked there, I think that's a really good answer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing me your.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, you can edit this out. But we're constantly showing reasons to like not like each other. You know, we are though in the media. There's always divisive, right?
Yeah.
And I think the thing that photography in any creative outlet has is that it unites people.
Yeah.
It's a shared interest. And I
100%.
think that it's a way of bonding and communicating.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we kind of like do everything we can to preserve that, right?
100%. I think photography, especially because it's such a real kind of cast on things that are happening. Like nothing, paintings are great, but photos I think really cast a light as to moments in time that I think some things need to be remembered. The bad, the good, all of that.
Well, I was really, OM systems because I've had a bit of a problem with Bourbon biscuits, right? And it's become like it went like with like certain events that happened over the last couple of years, right? We all needed a vice. Biscuits for my vice. And, I ate so many biscuits and so many Bourbons that it became part of my brand identity by accident. And I go to workshops. The lovely folks, my friends on the internet, who bring me Bourbons, the packs of Bourbons in real life, like. So I love the community. The photography community is amazing, isn't it?
Any advice for people that want to get into a creative field or get into a niche in photography? So I'm going to let you ponder. We'll just stare deeply into each other's eyes, and then.
I think it might be a little cliched, but the thing that you genuinely enjoy doing the most, like find a way to do that and keep doing it. It could be photography, like you said, it could be videography, but when you're starting a career in this kind of thing, you kind of divert and you go off in like different directions. We sometimes do genres that maybe we don't necessarily intend on doing, like starting off, but that thing, that spark that got you into it, preserve it. It's like a flame in the wind, like don't lose it. And
100%.
Yeah, because it's easy to kind of lose it sometimes.
Yeah, because I think it comes to, I've recently watched Soul, Pixar movie, and you're talking about sparks. That movie's kind of all about kind of finding your spark, your inspiration, and no one really knows what that spark's going to be, but when you find it, embrace it. And I think that's kind of
treasure it. But don't beat yourself up for like, look at different standards out there on the internet and stuff. I fell down that hole. And you see these like insane images out there, and you stop competing in a sense. But it was like, I was like, man, these got like years on me, like they're amazing. But they've got the hours in it.
Yeah.
So you just like take it on your own step, your own journey, just build and just go from there. Just enjoy it as much as you dare, really.
Enjoy it as much as you dare. I like that.
Yeah, because it's a ride. It is. It is a ride, and becoming financially dependent, essentially, on your hobby.
Yeah.
It's an eye opener. but it's also I won't have it any other way.
Yeah,
It's the only thing I can do.
100%. And it's the same with me, to be honest with you. I can't do anything else now.
Do you find that it's like it's the love that you've got for the thing that you do and pulls you through the times that are challenging? Because when you're working in, like when I was working in like other jobs,
Yeah,
I could quit those
yeah.
and go and do something else. But you can't quit this thing.
No.
That's why I say you have to kind of pick the thing
Yeah.
you like the most.
Yeah.
It's a sustainable
Yeah.
way of building a business out of it.
Yeah. And if you can do it, I mean, that's kind of what you need to do. With me, like, I've wanted to start a YouTube channel doing camera and bits and pieces for a long time. When this opportunity came up, I was just like, yes, this is what I want to do. But I've been doing videography for 10 years, like I said, and I've done in a number of different genres, a number of different fields, and the love of it purely came from the experience of filming and getting the shots. But I think there's a certain aspect to it when you find your flow and the right thing that you want to do personally, stick to it. Because you may be doing photography and you're doing landscape photography, but suddenly like you take a macro shot and that you remember how many years later and you're like, this is amazing. I want to take bugs, take pictures of bugs. I want to be the fun guy. Third time.
Third time.
Third time.
Yeah.
It's definitely good fun.
3 biscuits.
No, 3 Bourbons.
Three Bourbons.
3 Bourbons. 3
Oh my
Bourbons.
god, that could be like our running theme.
Bourbons and blackouts today.
Bourbons and Blackouts. That's going to be the title. We don't actually have any Bourbons though. Dude, I should have got some
I can
Bourbons.
go. I can get
Some like. I mean, I got a guy.
I've got a guy who's just going to cut to a shot of him just going around the corner and there's a guy in a big trench coat with biscuits. Tyler wants to keep us on track.
Is there anything else you can help?
I think we're okay. Cool. This has been awesome. This has really been this has been one of my favourites so far.
I've had a whale of a time.
It's been great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to go.
Maybe just round it off.
Yeah.
Say, can send you page or something.
So, Geraint, this has been a really fun time. We've had a couple power cuts, plenty of talk about Bourbons, which has made me hungry. And it's been really interesting to see your perspective on macro photography and also the OM systems, which you use on a daily basis. If you're looking to get yourself a new OM camera, then make sure you check out Camera Centre UK. And also, if you want to get some macro photography, I do hear the 90mm is an incredibly good lens. Geraint Radford, it has been a pleasure having you here, and I can't wait to do some more stuff with you, perhaps get you down again for the next show of Bourbons and
Bring your own Bourbons.
Bring it on board.
on the next episode of Bring Your Own Bourbons.
Over and out.
I tell you, I've loved it. Thanks. Thank you,
been
man.
great.
It's been wicked.
It's been great, and yeah, thank you for coming down.
Thank you for the invitation. We go get some biscuits.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, before the next blackout, this is where it blacks out now.